concepts and okay, let's start this again. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I had the idea of doing a full like day in the life morning routine. So you're just gonna follow me through my morning routine, but I wanted you to be able to take whatever concepts or whatever of these tips would apply to you, because all of our lives, all of our families, everybody's situation is totally different. And so what I do will not apply to every single person, and it cannot apply to every single person. So my goal for today's video is to share some things that I have personally changed in my life that improved it dramatically, because if you can really get a hold of your, not only your morning, but your evening routine as well, that kind of sets the tone for your entire day. And if you can change that, you can change your entire life. So I'll be sharing some tips as not only a mom and somebody who has to take care of multiple other people, but as someone who has also been on a recent health journey. And I had to change a lot of things about my morning routine, because obviously in order to stick to some kind of health journey, you have to be pretty consistent in your routines. But let me first address what my mornings and my evenings used to look like, because they were vastly different than they are today. At around 8 or 9 p.m. or when the kids would go to bed, I would sit on the sofa. I would watch either a Netflix series or some kind of series on TV, or be mindlessly scrolling on my phone. But the thing is, if I'm watching a series, I'm one of those people that if I start a series, I have to literally end it as fast as possible. So I will watch it all through the night. It was very typical for me to be up till at least 2 in the morning. And then if my kids had school, I had to be up around 7. So based off that math, I'm not really getting any sleep. On top of that, I was letting dishes pile up in the sink. I was not preparing for the next day whatsoever. It was just like, my mind wants to shut off at this time and I don't want to do anything. And I never did. It was very rare for me to actually get it together and do things I knew I had to do, because I just didn't want to do it. But then what would happen is I would wake up to all of yesterday's problems, because there was a mess everywhere. I was exhausted because I didn't get enough sleep. And so when my alarm would go off, it was the most dreaded sound in the world. And alarm clocks are always dreadful sounding, especially when you're not getting enough sleep. So I would wake up and I was just annoyed with myself. And so I would tell myself, I'm not gonna do that tonight, but I did it again, over and over and over again. And then my mornings were so rushed, because it was like, let's get lots of kids out the door to school, gotta pack lunches, gotta find shoes. Finding shoes with twins, especially when you want them matching, they don't match anymore, but when they were matching, I had to find 4 of the same shoes. That was always a struggle for me. Finding the matching clothes, deciding what food to put in their lunches. It was just chaotic in the mornings, and I dreaded mornings with all of my might. So I just never believed that I could be a morning person, because again, I'm a night owl. I'm just someone who likes to stay up and party all night, even if I got little kids and I have to take care of them first thing in the morning. I just believed that that's who I was, and I could never change. But it doesn't have to be, and I know this firsthand, because over the past 9 or 10 months now, I have become a morning person, and I love my mornings. So if this relates to anyone at all, and you've also thought that you can't change who you are, I'm here to tell you that not only can you change, you don't have to dread getting up in the mornings. You can start to love your morning routine. And it's really just about creating a routine that works for you and something that you will stick to. So let's start with tip number 1. And this one has nothing to do with actual mornings, but it will change everything if you are somebody who feels rushed and scattered in the morning, and that is to have a solid evening routine. This is one of those things that in the moment you don't want to do, but if you skip this, you will have so much more work to do the next day, first thing in the morning. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And again, if you have children, magnify that, because you have multiple humans that you have to take care of. And in my case, 4 additional people. So on top of me and myself and all of the things I have to do and plan for, there's also 4 other people that I got to do that for. So as far as my evening routine goes, I like to start it 2 to 3 hours before I'm actually wanting to go to bed. I want to be asleep at 10, so I like to start my evening routine around 7 o'clock. And some of our evening routine includes dinner, homework. If the kids are in school, the kids will take baths, put their jammies on, get their teeth brushed, get them fully ready for bed, and handle all the kids' things first. And then I move on to the house chores, like loading the dishwasher, putting laundry into the washing machine, and then I save that last hour for myself. And I do that because I want to have something to look forward to at the very end of the day. It also motivates me to get all of the must-do routine things done so I can have some time to relax before bed. Maybe you're someone who takes showers at night, but instead treat yourself to a bubble bath and light a candle and listen to your favorite music. Or something else that I love to do is I always save some of my calories at the very end of the day to have a yummy snack and watch an episode of my favorite show before bed. Just think of a way you can treat yourself before bed, something that you are actually looking forward to do, so that as you're doing your routines in the evening, you still have this like 1 hour before bed that's for you, and it's something that's going to help you relax and get ready for bed. I have been doing this for quite some time now, and it has completely changed literally everything because I start my evening routine early. And I have this, like, the second I notice the time hits around 7 o'clock, it is time for our evening routine. And my kids love it. They are thriving on this routine. I love it. It's completely changed everything about my day. My sleep has improved dramatically. I wake up early and I feel refreshed. I don't feel rushed, which then again sets the tone for the entire day. So when you don't have a good solid evening routine, I don't think we realize how much that can impact the next day. This next one would technically be part of your evening routine as well, but it's something that once I started applying, this was a few years ago when I actually started applying an evening routine for myself, and that is to have everything prepared the night before. I'm talking your outfit for the day, the kids' backpacks are at the door, their shoes, socks, underwear, their lunches are ready to be packed, breakfast is ready to be made, whatever needs to happen in the morning, have it literally laid out in front of you so there is no rushing in the morning. This again is one of those things that feels annoying to do right now. Like, the last thing I want to be doing at night is preparing for tomorrow, but it makes your life harder if you avoid that. Seriously though, who wants to be doing all of those things I just listed first thing in the morning? I want to do as little as looking and searching and cooking and planning and preparing as possible first thing in the morning. So I like to do that all the night before, have it all ready to go. So when you do wake up and when you get your kids up, everything is just ready for you to get going, and there is no searching for shoes, looking for matching socks, looking for clothes, wondering what the kids are gonna wear the next day, what should we put in their lunches. Like, everything is ready to go the night before. This next one is waking up earlier than your kids. Like I've mentioned before, I have always been a night owl. I want to stay up all night long. I feel like it's very hard for my brain to shut off, and it's almost like I get a second wind when the night comes around, and I'm like, no, I'm actually like wide awake again. And if I'm being honest, I'm never using that time to be productive. It's usually me again, like scrolling or binge watching shows, and I'm always snacking. That was another really big problem for me, is I would just endlessly snack at nighttime. So that was something I needed to change, and going to bed earlier, having a really solid evening routine helped me with that. But if you start forcing yourself to get up early, again, naturally you are going to want to go to bed a lot earlier as well. Now, I used to justify staying up all hours of the night as self-care because this is me time. This is the time I get to myself. And so I would justify me staying up, again, all hours of the night when I knew it was going to affect my next day. And that's where the problem was. I was using it for just entertainment, just because I didn't want to go to bed, when I knew I should be going to bed the same time my kids are going to bed. If they're going to be waking up at this time and I need to wake up at that time, I should not be going to bed 5 hours later. That's crazy. So if you are like me and you love staying up late because, again, it's like your own time for yourself, but you always regret it when you wake up because you had no sleep from the night before, I do have some suggestions that can actually get you excited to get out of bed. But step number one is you have to set your alarm an hour before either your kids get up or you have to get up. I already know there are so many of you thinking, heck to the no, I am not waking up an hour before I have to, because I was the same way. If somebody gave me this advice even a year ago, I would have said, absolutely not. I will sleep until the very last second. Usually I have 3 or 4 alarms going off until I actually get out of bed. So again, I can relate to you, but hear me out. You need to have something you are excited to wake up for. And that is the problem. When the old me would wake up, it was pure rushing. And so of course, I don't want to get up and do that. The last thing I want to do is get out of bed when, number one, I didn't really get enough sleep the night before. And number two, I knew I was waking up to pure chaos. I knew I was waking up to not knowing where any of the kids' things were and just pure rush. That is not exciting. Nobody wants to wake up when that is their experience every single morning. There needs to be something planned first thing in the morning just for you that you are excited to get out of bed for. I want you to think for just a moment, if you are somebody who feels this way and you're always rushing first thing in the morning, you're not getting enough sleep, you're dreading your mornings, I want you to imagine you setting your alarm clock an hour early just to have time for yourself. You do no work, you do nothing that stresses you out, you give yourself an hour to do whatever the heck you want to do. I will tell you, doing this in the morning is so much more enjoyable. There is something about waking up before anyone else is awake and having that quiet time just for yourself. So what are some things that would excite you to get out of bed for? Some examples could be you could put on your favorite TV series on your laptop or your phone, maybe while you're doing makeup if you need to also be getting ready during this time. You could just make it a little bit more fun. You could light a candle and turn on some music and make a big breakfast just for yourself to have a slow morning. You could sit on your porch and read with your favorite morning beverage. It doesn't have to be the gym. You don't have to do a workout. It doesn't have to be a task that you don't find joy in. And if you do need to be using that first hour to be getting work done, just try to make it more enjoyable. Light a candle, listen to music while you're doing work around the house. But I would still suggest the very first 15 minutes dedicate to something you actually are excited to wake up to do. So whatever it is that you find a lot of joy in, start your day with that. And I promise you, when the alarm goes off in the morning and you know you have a plan to do this thing that you find a lot of joy in and you're going to be the only one awake and you get this time just for yourself, that can be the game changer for you. The next one is to get inspired. Start the day with inspiring words. Whether it's finding a moment during breakfast, going on a walk, or getting ready for the day, use that time every single day to listen to words that are going to teach you something or inspire you. I have paid a lot of attention to my mornings over the past year and how I feel in the mornings. It really sets the tone for the rest of the day. And what I notice is there are a lot of times where, let's say I'm doing my makeup and maybe I have a YouTube video on, but it's just something for entertainment. It's not anything that's like teaching me anything or it's not inspirational. But I'll notice my mind, I swear I just like naturally have a negative mindset. I've really had to work on being more positive, but I have noticed having a negative thought first thing in the morning tends to spiral, and I will just continue to kind of be in a negative mindset. When I start my day listening to something that's inspirational, my entire day reflects that. I have a positive mindset. I find myself eating better. I find myself excited to go to the gym. I'm just so much more positive. So I have made this a priority. I don't stray away from this when I get ready in the morning. Or there are definitely days I don't get physically ready like this, but maybe it's during breakfast. I make sure I listen to at least 20 minutes of some kind of podcast. Maybe it's a YouTube video, somebody that is inspiring me and motivating me and just sharing encouraging words. It changes everything. And so it's just become a priority and something I do every single day. And so if that's something that you might relate to, maybe you find yourself having negative thoughts in the morning or really any time of day, if you ever feel like that, go put something inspiring on and pay attention to how quickly your mindset can shift. My next one is to be productive first thing in the morning. So find at least 5 minutes to start working on your to-do list. And I'm giving this tip because there's always household things that need to be done, and if we push them off and they're not part of something we start in the morning, I have just found for myself that things start to pile up and it's harder to get to them later in the day. So what I try to do is while my kids are getting ready or maybe eating breakfast, I will start then unloading the dishes, or I will maybe start folding some laundry. And again, this is just something that has helped me personally with being more productive in my day, because if I start it first thing in the morning, I am more likely to continue. Like once the kids are out the door, I've already begun my to-do list, and so I'm much more likely to continue being productive if I've already begun, if that makes sense. I'm sure some of you are familiar with Mel Robbins, and one of my favorite tips that I got from her was her whole 5-second rule. So when she's feeling like she's procrastinating, which is something, I find myself doing every single day. I'm trying to put off tasks that I know I need to do. What she will do is she will use her 5-second rule. So she just counts down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get up and just do it. Another phrase I use all the time when I am procrastinating is nothing to it but to do it. Now that's so basic, but like really, there's nothing to it but to do it. Think of how that really applies to everything you're procrastinating in your life, right? There's nothing to it but just sit down and do it, get it done, and then you don't have to worry about about it the rest of the day. So again, start doing some of those things first thing in the morning. You're gonna find yourself much more productive throughout the rest of your day. The last few that I have are specific to somebody who is on a health journey. So if you are somebody who is wanting to change some things about your life, you're wanting to improve your health, maybe you wanna lose some weight, whatever it may be, this is for you. And I'm starting with the thing that was the most transformative for me personally, and it is pre-logging my food and my meals and what I was going to eat the night before. Because let me ask you this, especially if you are somebody who's trying to lose weight. You may have all of the good intentions to eat good tomorrow, but when the day actually comes and you find yourself hungry and you open up the fridge or the pantry and you are just gazing at all of the food, you are not going to pick the healthy choice. I can promise you that. The old version of you is going to pop up and say, those Doritos look really good right now, and you're going to eat the Doritos. So what I like to do is I will pre-log my food into my Lose It app. That's the app that I use to track my macros. If you're unfamiliar with macros, you can Google this and find out exactly how many macros you should be eating. What it is we all have a calorie number that we should be sticking to based off of our age, our weight. If we're male or female, there's a lot of factors that go into what our calorie intake should be, or like what our maintenance should be. And if you are trying to lose some weight, you need to be in a slight deficit of whatever that number is. So what I do is I will pre-log my food. Now, I have been doing this for a very long time, so I kind of have the same meals that I like, and so it's very easy for me to do this. So I will just, decide, okay, what am I gonna have for breakfast? What are some of my snacks? I always know I have a protein bar and a protein shake, so I add that in there. I'll add my lunch, I'll add my dinner, and then what I'll do is I will click on the macros and I'll see if they look good, if they look like the numbers that are set for myself. And once I have those all figured out, then I am done. Now think about this. When I wake up tomorrow, I don't have to think about what I'm eating because I've already logged it and I already know what I am going to be eating that day. And so I feel like when you're on a health journey, the number one problem is coming up with what you're gonna eat during the day. It can literally take up your entire day. I wanna say that's why I've never really stuck to anything, because the eating part was always so frustrating to me. I never knew how to actually stick to eating healthy foods because again, I wasn't prepared. I didn't know what I was going to eat today, and so whatever was in front of me is what I was going to eat. But now it's whatever I have pre-logged, that's what I eat. And if it's not logged, I don't eat it. And there are definitely days where I swap what I had planned and I eat something else. But for the most part, doing this the night before, logging what you're going to eat the night before, so you know when you wake up, this is what I'm eating, these are all my snacks, these are the meals I'm having. It takes all the guesswork out of tomorrow. And I feel like that's the best way to set yourself up for success. The next one I like to do during the morning time, and this is usually when I'm eating breakfast, is I will get on Pinterest and I will look up healthy meals. And sometimes I'm searching for something specific, like maybe I'm really craving cinnamon rolls, so I will look up like healthy cinnamon rolls or protein-packed cinnamon rolls, or sometimes I will just type in macro-friendly meals and I will just look for different recipes or things that stick out to me. And again, this is something I like to do while I'm eating breakfast, and then I'm never running out of new healthy recipes. Now, I am a creature of habit. I do kind of stick to the same things, but when I find those new recipes that are just to die for, I love that. Sometimes I also just get inspired of, oh, I like different toppings on things. Like there are lots of oatmeal recipes that I have found that I'm like, oh, I never thought to put those kind of toppings on my oatmeal, and it's delicious. And then for the last one is to move your body. Now, this can be anything. I don't care if you're going for a walk. I don't care if you like to do Pilates or you like to weightlift or you love yoga. You need to find something that you love. And if you are watching somebody on YouTube, and let's say you watch them lose 100 pounds because they do Pilates, so you want to start doing Pilates, but you don't like Pilates, you're not going to stick to it. And the reason it worked for them is because they love Pilates, so they were able to stick to it long enough to lose 100 pounds. You need to find an activity that you love to do. And again, it doesn't matter what it is. I think people underestimate what a walk can do. If that is all you ever did, you could change your life just by going on walks. In fact, if you are not somebody who goes on regular walks, I challenge you, before you change your entire life and your entire routine, I want you today to go on a walk. And when you're done, come back and tell me how much better you feel. How does your mood feel? How much better did you sleep that night? How did you feel when you got home? Because my endorphins are always through the roof after I go on a walk. I love walks, and they were not something that was ever a part of my daily life until a few years ago is when I actually started incorporating walks, and I love walks. I can imagine not having a walk every single day. Sometimes I go with my entire family. Sometimes I just take my youngest with me. Sometimes it's just me by myself. Whatever way I gotta go on a walk, I love them. As far as working out goes, my favorite way to exercise is strength training. So I love using dumbbells, I love using weights. I like slow and steady movements. That's my favorite way to work out. And it's something I actually get excited to do. I love how I feel during my workouts. I love how I feel after my workouts. And this is actually something that recently has become like the first thing I do in the morning. So this has become the treat to myself. I never thought I would say that. I never thought I would say, I want to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to the gym because that would be a treat to myself. It's mind-blowing to hear those words come out of my mouth because the old me would say a treat to myself is sleeping in till noon, right? But truly, you can change your entire life by just shifting a few things around in your routines, really figuring out what's going to work for you, what's something that's going to get you excited to wake up for first thing in the morning, and what are some things you can do to be more productive at night to ensure that you have a really good tomorrow. Because everything starts in our evening routine. That's where it all starts. We can't have a good morning routine if we don't first have a really solid evening routine in place. What are some things you are doing that is holding you back from having a great day? And it's our daily routines that make up our entire life. So if we can have a really good morning, that sets the tone for the entire day. And if we can have a really good evening routine, that will set you up for a successful tomorrow. And if you can continue doing this day after day after day, that's what makes up your entire life. And I wanted to end on this because it's one of my favorite quotes ever, but the secret to your success is found in your daily routines. Your daily routine makes up your life. And so if you can find things that you enjoy to do and make it a part of your daily routine and kind of romanticize your life a little bit, that is something that I have been trying to do. Anytime I have to do those mundane tasks that have to be done every day, make it a little more enjoyable. Light a candle, listen to music, set some time for yourself every single morning. Whatever you gotta do to start finding joy in your days. If you are not someone who has subscribed yet, I would love to have you here on my channel. So be sure to hit that red subscribe button. And thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.